Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. I'm Daniel Berlant with the Fire Situation Report for October 17th, 2016, coming to you live from the CAL FIRE Information Center. This past weekend, much of California saw rainfall. In fact, a lot of parts of the northern portion of the state saw several inches of rain. Now, what does that mean for this week's fire danger? We'll talk about that in just a moment. But I want to switch right over to our statewide fire map, where you can still see there are still at least one active fire and several others over the weekend that crews were able to contain. The first fire that we want to talk about is one that burned near Lake Tahoe. This is the Emerald Fire. It burned 176 acres, and as of this morning, it is 100% contained. Now, this started just before the rain came in through the Sierra. I'll switch over to our map here. We'll zoom in to show you exactly where this fire was burning. It's near Emerald Bay in the beautiful part of Lake Tahoe. This is Cascade Lake right here. This is Lake Tahoe, obviously. Emerald Bay. Now, Highway 89 that runs right through where this fire burned has been closed now for several days, but as of noon today, so just a couple minutes ago, Caltrans has reopened this so that additional people can start to go through this area. So again, Highway 89 through the Lake Tahoe region is now reopened. There may be some traffic delays, but again, this fire, the Emerald Fire, 176 acres burned. It is now 100% contained. Another fire that's been burning for the last couple days is the Cicada Fire. This is burning on the Sierra National Forest in Fresno County, just above Pine Flat Reservoir. This fire started on Tuesday and has burned 2,100 acres. And according to the U.S. Forest Service, as you can see from these images from earlier in the week, it's now 97% contained. Just to give you an idea of where this fire is burning, if we zoom out from the Emerald Fire, start to go down south into the Central Valley. This is right in the foothill areas, again, just above Pine Flat Reservoir. We'll zoom in here. This is on the Sierra National Forest. Now, CAL FIRE was providing assistance with fire resources, but the U.S. Forest Service close to full containment. Here's the reservoir right up in here in this area. Here's the community of Trimmer. You can see this fire burned right in this area, very close, though, to full containment on the fire. Another fire, though, to report is the Sobranes Fire. The Sobranes Fire now 100% contained after starting on July 22nd, burning 132,127 acres. It was contained this past Thursday, so there is definitely some good news out of the Big Sur area. The Sobranes Fire now, according to the Los Padres National Forest, is 100% contained. A couple other fires, just to reiterate from last week that crews were able to contain. One of those is the Loma Fire. That was burning just northwest of Morgan Hill, just south of San Jose in this area. The Loma Fire burned 4,474 acres. You can see it right here in the Santa Cruz Mountains. Morgan Hill over here to the east, San Jose over here to the north. It was 100% contained on Wednesday. Another fire that was contained last week was up in Modoc County. This is where the U.S. Forest Service had been battling the Soup Complex. Up here you can see the most northern part of California. The Soup Complex burned 2,652 acres. It too is 100% contained. Now let's talk a little bit about the weather. If you lived in much of Northern California, in fact, I'll switch over to a map here that shows some of the rainfall totals. This is what we're expecting this week. But over the weekend, starting Friday, we saw significant rainfall in pretty much the same pattern of Northern California, much of Central California, the Bay Area, as well as parts of the Sierra as well. Several inches of rainfall. Now this week, we could still see some rainfall over the next day or so. Not much, though, but an inch of rain in Eureka, maybe a half inch in Redding, Sacramento, San Francisco, Fresno, San Diego, even in Los Angeles, really nothing measurable. So the rainfall that we saw this weekend has come. That storm system has moved on. Little bit of a trailing in of that storm system will continue to bring rainfall, but a lot of rain this past week. Look at our temperatures for today. It's going to be much cooler than we have been used to over the last couple of weeks. 60 degrees in Eureka, 68 in Sacramento. Down in Southern California, it's going to be in the 70s. Now, we'll jump forward here to Friday. You can see conditions will be warming up. We are going to start to see 90s in Southern California. So as that storm system moves through, the temperatures will start to go up, and that's going to dry conditions back out. So even though we got significant rainfall in parts of northern California, these type of temperatures will start to actually dry those conditions out. So this storm system, while it was great and we'll take every drop we can get to help us in these drought conditions, it really was not enough to put a significant dent into this drought. We're going to need continued storms like that one, which we may have here in the future. Looking though at our wind gusts, look at this. It is going to be very gusty over the next couple days throughout California. In fact, look at Southern California here. We could see areas where winds are 20, 30 miles an hour. And that's because down here in Southern California, where we didn't see that same rainfall, while we may get some overcast conditions this week, we're also potentially going to start to see some Santa Ana winds that are going to blow through here. And that's why the National Weather Service has issued a red flag warning. Here you can see it. Actually, this is a fire weather watch, I should say, for the potential starting Tuesday through Thursday for very gusty winds. In fact, we could see wind gusts in this area 40 to 50 miles an hour. Now that includes some sundowner winds over here in the Santa Barbara region, but this is Ventura, Los Angeles, parts of San Bernardino, Los Angeles, Riverside, Orange, and San Diego counties. So the fire risk here in Southern California is still elevated through this week. Again, Santa Ana winds likely later in the week, where those areas where we just did not see that rainfall. Now I want to switch over here to our humidity. Humidity in Northern California is going to be fairly high, but you can see down in Southern California throughout this week, it is going to be in the teens. So fire conditions really it's two different stories here. Northern California will be drying out. We'll see what next week brings. But even last week alone, even with these cooler temperatures, we still responded to 285 new wildfires up and down the state. So that's about a 27% increase in the number of wildfires that CAL FIRE would respond to in an average year. So dry conditions in Southern and Central California, drying conditions in Northern California. If you live in any of the areas here, you definitely are going to be at a higher risk for wildfires with this fire weather watch. Now let's talk a little bit about outdoor burning. There are several areas where outdoor burning permits, that suspension on them has been lifted. In fact, you can see from this map, these counties in orange, the upper portion of Northern California, the Bay Area, the South Bay, the East Bay, I should say the East Bay, as well all the way going up into Sacramento, Amador, El Dorado counties. If you live in these counties, you can now get a burn permit to burn landscape debris like branches and leaves. You definitely still need to have the necessary permits. It's important to keep your piles 4 by 4, so 4 feet by 4 feet. Always have a water supply and a shovel nearby if you're going to burn landscape debris in some of these counties where they're allowed. You want to clear around the pile 10 feet in clearance. So all the brush, any grass, any leaves, bare mineral dirt is what you want 10 feet around that pile. You want to make sure you're in attendance at all times, and if the winds pick up, never burn when it's windy. You can learn more about burn permits in areas where you can burn at our website at fire.ca.gov. There's a whole host of information to find out, is your county right now allowing outdoor burning for branches and leaves? Fire.ca.gov, that's where you get more information on how to burn safely. Now, that's the latest on the fire situation here in California. I'm Daniel Berlant. Have a fire-safe week.